I recently went on vacation to visit my relatives and to more importantly unwind from my everyday life. I was genuinely exhausted with my full-time job and YouTube channel constantly on my mind, so I basically needed an escape. Something wholesome that encourages reflection on life without feeling the weight that it entails. Kind of like a massage, and in that blissful moment when your whole body lets go, you get to reflect and think clearly on what's up ahead of you. Coffee Talk is exactly that kind of game. It has a story to tell, and one which is masterfully written in such a natural and casual way that it's as entertaining as it is thought-provoking. Every character has a story to tell, dilemmas to solve, and it's exactly in those weaker moments in a person's life that the game excels in. Throughout both games, we see them overcome hard moments in their lives, and as the characters develop and grow, so do we as an individual. In a world where a lot of games feel like copies of each other, Coffee Talk is a series that feels imaginative and innovative in all the right ways, making it two games that I would recommend to anyone looking for a game to call home. If I had to simplify what this series is, I would say that it's essentially a barista simulator. Clients show up and you fulfill their requests by combining a variety of liquids and spices in a specific order, creating a drink that satisfies the customer. In order to do so, you pick the base of the drink, which can be anything from a coffee base to chocolate powder to a variety of teas, with two new ones added in the sequel. You then choose your primary and secondary spices, and once you're ready, you get to see and hear your creation brought to life with an end result which always feels satisfying in an almost nostalgic way. Before you know it, you'll be trashing drinks in order to see what new combinations you can find and what new designs you may discover. That process is also necessary because the complexity of the game comes from the player guessing what the characters want in his drink. Sometimes they have a good idea of what they want, but more often than not, they actually don't. In best cases, they know the name of the drink, so all you basically have to do is Google it, but in most cases, they only know what they want the drink to make them feel. Drinks have the power to change the character's mood, and it's in this exact mechanic that determines what path the story will take and what ending you'll get at the very end. For example, in the second game, there are two characters who are trying to organize their wedding, but the stress level and the expectations that come with the wedding are really taking a toll on them. Frustrated, they ask you to make them a drink, and depending how effective it is at calming their spirits, it will determine how effective they will be at communicating their desires in the days to come, which ultimately will affect what ending and achievements you get down the line. On the same note though, they really outdid themselves in the sequel by adding even more branching paths, which combined with the new mechanic where we have to return lost objects to their owner, more than double the amount of possibilities is available to us, which is represented by the sheer difference in the amount of achievements that you can get. It's in that strong gameplay loop that feels fully immersive and expertly integrated in the game. It becomes second nature real fast, and it's one that's as addictive as it's appeasing. One that's made memorable by its stellar soundtrack. Arami Genfru made the soundtrack for both games, and his lo-fi style really allows the general vibe to seep into you. It's relaxing in a very subconscious way, but not too mellow to make you fall asleep on it, even if I totally did on multiple occasions actually. Anyways, I bought the vinyl soundtrack because I really love what he did here, and I also can't deny that it's a beautiful showpiece for my collection. The same goes for the collector's edition for the second game when it comes out, which comes with a few trinkets, including this adorable acrylic standee of the character sitting on the counter. Everything combined makes for a really fun game that by itself makes it worth the purchase price. But that's actually not what Coffee Talk is about. Let me rephrase that. What I said so far is indeed accurate. It's just that it is not the main reason why you should play these games and why they're actually memorable. You see, I omitted the most crucial part of this game, which is that these two games are actually lengthy visual novels about a barista helping lost souls find comfort in a modern world that feels too cold and distant. A world where jobs and daily struggles take up most of their time, and in that battle for everyday life lies a blissful wish to find a place where they can just be heard without the expectation of receiving an answer. A place where they can remove the mask that they have to put for society in order to be themselves, their real selves. A place where they can sit down, have a drink, and talk about the problems that they encounter in their everyday lives. It can go anywhere from the racism and stereotypes that all races face on a regular basis, the role that each individual has in his family, and how expectations that come with that role can be hard to live up to, how the hustle of life is only made worth worthwhile because of the dreams that fueled them, and so much more. Freya, the main protagonist of the first game and returning character on the sequel, is a writer for the local newspaper where she writes short stories about everyday people. She's found some success in it, but she subconsciously desires more, so when the opportunity to her to write and publish her first novel presents itself, she took it knowing that she would have to hide it from her employer. We then get to see her struggle as she tries to satisfy her superiors while simultaneously trying to complete the draft before the deadline. As the days go by, we get to watch her interact with the other clients like Gala the werewolf, who has issues controlling his fury attacks during the full moon, but has a kind soul and only desires to share his inner peace with the people around him. Hyde, a vampire of an old soul, Gala's best friend and whom searches for the warmth of life that he's lost all those years ago, as his kind generally outlives everyone and everything around him. Neil is the complete opposite of both of them. He's a hive consciousness who came to Earth on an important mission only to discover that his naivety and fish out of water syndrome prevents him from making any form of progress. There's also Officer Georgie, an old man that feels like a cool but strict uncle that everyone has, struggles with the balance that comes with the service of law and the expectations of parenthood. Last but far from the least, my favorite couple in the whole game, Lua and Bailey's, a succubus and an elf who wish to settle down but are forced to face the stigmas that come with their races. As Freya gets to know all of these characters, so do we in an almost intimate way that feels earned and genuine. You get attached to these people that show up every day, and as you get to learn what makes them who they are, they stop being characters in a story and become something more. It's only fitting that Freya decides that her novel will be inspired by the people that shows up in the cafe. In other words, it ends up being about the family that forms in that shared space. It loops everything perfectly in a way that completely destroys any essence of these games being simple barista simulators, because it's not. It's actually far more than that. It's a love letter to that drink you used to like when you were a kid. A simple time when you finished your stressful day at work and came to unwind in front of the TV with your favorite beverage in hand. It's a love letter to whom you've become and how, after you erased it from your mind, rediscovered it, giving you the same effect that it had all those years ago. Coffee Talk 1 is a love letter to society and how no matter what challenges individuals might face, people will still find ways to help each other out in order to thrive and get themselves ready for the next day. Coffee Talk Episode 2 is a love letter to us for sticking with the story to the very end. And that's also what saddens me by the fact that the main writer for the game died before he could even see the credits. And he deserves all the praise because these are really two amazingly good stories. It's really rare to see this kind of quality, especially in the sequel nowadays, so I hope that this team decides to keep his spirits alive and make a third installment regardless of the tremendous setback. I genuinely fell in love with these characters that visited this little coffee shop, and out of all the games that I installed on my Steam Deck for my trip, I'm happy that I chose these two. In a way, this game is like that favorite beverage you like to take on a rainy day. It's warm and colorful, and even if it never lasts as long as you would have liked, we can always just make another one and re-experience it anew. It still feels familiar, but the warmth is there, and in the end, that's all that really matters, right? Thank you for watching my video. I sincerely appreciate it. And hey, for once I was able to make something short. I'm actually leaving on a trip, so that's why I had to make it short. I want to release something before I leave. So thank you very much for watching and for supporting and for subbing and commenting. Honestly, these last few weeks have been really amazing. I've talked with so many cool people. I've had so many lore talks, and yeah, I've been really vibing with it. So I hope you're vibing too and you're actually enjoying my channel. So if you want to support this gamer to get to his dream goal, please like and subscribe. Also, if you're wondering, the feat that sometimes appears on the screen, even if most of the video is actually gameplay, is actually from my friend. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he basically spent the whole day with me. He helped me make those drinks that you saw and the whole, you know, sequence. We actually tried to make 4, but we gave up on 1. So the 3 that we kept, he was here the whole day spending it with me, trying to make it work. So shout out to Horror Boy, and shout out to you for getting to the end. So with all that said, thank you very much. I hope to see you on the next one.
Dream coffee.
Bye.